last in the theater tonight because they're all in the back.
How do you worship?
I'm Carolyn Delamont. I'm president of the Paulding Chamber. It is a pleasure to have all of you here, and it's a pleasure for the Chamber to be able to do this for our community. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being a part of the decision-making process of choosing future leadership for both of our cities. Tonight, we have Terry Lawler as a moderator. Terry is the Executive Director of the Regional Business Coalition of Metropolitan Atlanta, an organization made up of over a dozen of the largest chambers and most active chambers in Metro Atlanta. RBC chambers represent businesses in an area that services from Paulding County to Newton County, from Hall County to Henry County. Prior to joining the RBC, Terry was the Southeastern Regional Director of Governmental Affairs for MCI and Verizon, and the National Director of Governmental Affairs for CompuCredit Corporation. Terry also served the Georgia State House of Representatives in the 80s and represented West Cobb County. Mr. Lawler, our esteemed moderator tonight, and his family presently live in College Park, where he serves on the city's Planning and Zoning Commission. Please help me welcome Terry Lawler tonight as our moderator.
Thank you, Carolyn. Can you all hear me okay? Good. I want to thank you all for taking time to come out on a busy weeknight. You could be home watching, I think, what's Glee is tonight. I can't remember what my wife puts on the DVR. I think it's Glee and maybe House. So, but we've got some very important business to take care of. You know, every time we have an election, everyone talks about this is the most important election ever, and people need to come out. And really, some people overplay that, but I frankly believe it is. Every election is the most important that we have, because what's going to happen in the next 2 or 4 years, depending on what the election cycle is, can have a major impact on our lives. Just think where we were 4 years ago before we went into this great recession. No one would have foreseen where we are right now. So this election is the most important election that we face, and those of y'all who have taken the time to come out here and listen to the candidates for city council and for mayor need to be commended for your civic duty. What I'd like to do first is read what the rules are, and so everyone in the audience understands what the rules are, as well as the candidates. First of all, each candidate will have to draw a number at the registration, decide who goes first in the opening statements, and each will be given 3 to 5 minutes to give an introduction. We only have one person who showed up for the Hiram City Council post, and that's Mr. Steve Bray. So he drew number 1, believe it or not. In the Dallas City Council Ward 4 race, Mr. Henson drew number 2, and Mr. Ragsdale drew number 1. And in the Dallas Mayor's race, Mr. Austin drew number 2, and Mr. Tingler drew number 1. After the introductions, candidate 1 will draw a question and pass the question to me, and I will read it, and then we'll give him 3 minutes to answer the question. The questions are in these little glass vases right here. After the question is answered, the opposing candidate will have 2 minutes for a rebuttal. The same process will repeat for the other candidate. The city council candidates will have 1 question each. The mayor candidates will have 2 questions each. In the mayor's race, the candidate who draws number 1 will draw questions 1 and 4, and the candidate who draws number 2 will draw questions 2 and 3, allowing for candidate 2 to have the final rebuttal. Candidates for each race will be called to the stage together, and once they have finished, they will return to the audience, and the candidates for the next race will be called up. There will be 2 chairs on the stage, as you can see, and a podium and a microphone for the candidates to speak from. And if there are any questions about that, or if there's any changes, because I'm the moderator, I rule. So our first seat that we will be discussing tonight is for the Hiram City Council Post 1. Would Mr. Steve Bray please come to the seat up here? Thank you, Mr. Bray. have 3 to 5 minutes to give an opening statement. And we have some ladies down here who have cards that will actually tell you when you have 1 minute left and 30 seconds left and when your time is up. Go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Bray, and I'm running for the Post-1 Council seat in the city of Hiram. I moved to Georgia in 1970, where I lived in Colorado, in Denver, and I attended Sprayberry High School in Cobb County, Kennesaw College, and then finally the Georgia Institute of Technology. I'm a project manager for a manufacturing firm here in Dallas, Lane Mechanical, and prior to that I was a project manager for a manufacturing firm on Fulton Industrial for 13 years. My lovely wife Brandy and I moved to Paulding County in 2002, where we found a little fixer-upper next to Ben Hill Strickland Senior Park, and I've been working on it ever since. It's amazing how many projects you'll find just by trying to replace the fascia. During the time we have lived in Hiram, we've observed and made note of the changes that the city has experienced while under the leadership of the past 2 mayors, the late Mr. Dewey Pendley and Ms. Carmen Ross. I believe that the present mayor, Mr. Jack Parris, is poised to take the city to the next economic step, and I would really like to be a part of that process. The rapid growth of Hiram has experienced over the last 9 years has been phenomenal. With rapid growth, new questions and challenges do arise. Is this a sustainable growth? Do we have the infrastructure necessary? The first question as far as we assess sustainability is answered by the Georgia Work Ready program. This program assures prospective businesses they will have an educated and certified pool of personnel to choose from. And to supplement this program, Paulding County and the city of Hiram have several of the best technical schools in the Southeast in their backyard, namely Chattahoochee Tech, Southern Poly, and Georgia Tech. With the advent of the Paulding County Economic Development Group, guided by the experience of Mr. Jamie Gilbert, Paulding County and the city of Hiram can anticipate the potential of additional economic growth in the future. We are already seeing the fruits of their labor from the construction of the IBA's film studio, the relocation of Aerodynamics Incorporated, and nationwide envelope company. The Appalachian Valley Fiber Network is currently laying the fiber optic groundwork that will handle the transmission of the massive amounts of data required by hospitals and technically oriented businesses. The city of Hiram has already started to take steps necessary to upgrade its infrastructure to support the type of businesses that we're trying to attract. Regardless of how this election comes out, I will continue to suggest and provide support for initiatives that will improve our economy, standard of living, and the quality of life for our citizens. I would be proud to serve with Mayor Parris and the rest of the council in a unified effort to benefit the residents of the city of Hiram and Paulding County. I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now, you can draw one out of here, but since there's only one of you, I can draw each of the questions out and we can go through it that way. You will still have, just to make certain, 3 minutes to answer those. And if you want to rebut yourself, I guess you can. Argue with yourself. First question is, what motivated you to run for public office?
Probably more than anything is I really do feel like the council needs to be unified in trying to bring in new business to the city of Hiram. We're seeing businesses leave. We need to get new tax incentives in to give temporary relief for startup costs for businesses to come to Hiram. I believe that the work programs are going to help that along, and I really wanted to be involved in the process. I felt like I had some good ideas to contribute, and I believe it's everybody's duty to serve.
Thank you. And you sort of answered this question, but maybe you want to expand on it a little bit. What is your plan for economic development within the city of Hiram?
The biggest thing I think for more than anything else is going to be infrastructure. We have to have what the businesses need to come here. If we need to work specifically on the septic and sewer system, I believe that's one of the problems that is stifling business in downtown Hiram. That would allow business to expand. There's no restriction because of septic tank. there's no problems with EPA. It's just a variety of good solutions that come out of that idea. And I would like to be able to work with Paulding County to find some way to make that happen.
Terry, excuse me just a minute. The city council candidates, he can get 2 questions because his opponent was not here, but the other questions are for the other council candidates to draw. I apologize, I must not have made that clear.
That's fine. You can end there, or I've got 2 more.
I think I pushed my luck as far as I'm going to push it.
Well, that's fine. This might be a 2-inch putt, but I guess. With that, would you like to make a closing statement? We have, I believe it's 3 minutes allowed for a closing statement as well.
No, I think I pretty much said everything I was hoping to say. I appreciate it.
Well, Mr. Bray, thank you for coming.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Kevin, for clarifying.
Terry, you just thought you got the rule of the house.
Right. The next candidates who are going to come forward are from the Dallas City Council Ward 4 with Mr. Jim Henson and Mr. Brian Ragsdale. Please come to the stage. As mentioned before, Mr. Ragsdale drew the number 1, so he'll be making his opening comments first. Mr. Ragsdale.
Good evening, and thank you for coming tonight. My name is Brian Ragsdale, and as you know, I run for Dallas City Council. Before I start, I would like to thank my wife, Claire. Without her love and support, I would not be the man I am today. Many of you might not know me, but you do know my family. I'm a 4th generation. My family's been here for 4 generations in Dallas. My great-grandfather, Dr. Carl Ragsdale, was the town's first dentist. He practiced right up the street here. My grandmother, Sarah Ragsdale, taught in local schools for 42 years. I know some of you were taught math by her. Many of my family members are current or former teachers. I personally taught high school social studies for the last 14 years, and my wife has been a Spanish teacher for the last 16. We have dedicated ourselves to helping improve people's lives through education. Now, I want to help Dallas by serving as the people's voice on our city council. I chose to run for the Dallas City Council because I believe what happens near your home has the biggest influence on your daily life. I believe as a councilman, I can help change the area in which we live for the better. Even though I have deep roots in the city, do not think I am for business as usual. The current city council has done some great things for this city, but it's time to move forward. I have a few ideas I feel will benefit everyone in the city without costing a great deal of taxpayer money. I do not claim to have come up with these ideas on my own. These ideas come from listening to my neighbors for years and fellow citizens as I went through this campaign. These ideas include recycling services. Dallas should offer recycling services to all its residents. Cities such as Smyrna, Marietta, and Carrollton have offered these for years. The city of Austell has offered curbside recycling pickup for almost 20 years. It seems to me that this could eventually be a money-making thing for the city. I have been told by several current and former employees by the city of Marietta that the city is reimbursed for 10 to 15% of the value of its recycled materials from their recycling company. Our city garbage company actually offers recycling services to some subdivisions within Paulding County, but not in our city. It is time for Dallas to catch up to the rest of its neighbors and start a recycling program. Water resources. Dallas should tap into the groundwater beneath our feet to help supplement its water supply. We are at the end of the water chain, as I call it. As most of you know, we get our water from Paulding County, who gets it from Cobb. We're the first ones to see rate increases and restrictions put on us during those hot, dry summer months we all know so well. The use of our own groundwater supply could help ease these concerns. And last but not least, police protection. The first duty of any level of government is to protect and preserve the life, liberty, and property of its citizens. We need to give the Dallas Police Force the tools and training to protect the city of 10,000 people in the 21st century. Please contact me if you have any other ideas to improve our city. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and thank you for your attention tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Ragsdale. Mr. Henson.
Thank you, Mr. Lawler. Thank you, Mr. Lawler. Mr. Ragsdale. Fellow candidates. And those of you watching on cable TV tonight. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this forum where the citizens of Dallas and Hiram can come together and have the opportunity to meet the candidates and hear what we have to say about the offices we are seeking. Before I tell you a little bit about myself, I want to say a couple of thank yous. I want to say thank you to Frank Bingo McIntyre for his 18 years of service to the city of Dallas and Ward 4. I'd also like to mention that we're going to miss Kelly Carter. We lost Kelly last week. He had been on the council for almost 22 years, and we're going to miss him, and the city's going to miss him a lot. I'm excited to be here tonight and have this opportunity to speak with you. I came to Dallas in 1965, fresh out of college. I had a summer job. That summer job was selling Bibles door to door. I had plans to go back to college and seek my master's and go into government work. One morning while I was getting ready to go out, a gentleman pulled in my driveway. His name was Walter Abney, a great person and a great friend. He offered me a job teaching at the Dallas High School. I took that job, and 43 years later, I'm still teaching. The largest portion of my 43 years in education have been in administration and supervision, overseeing students, working with parents, teachers, and doing administrative duties. I've taught at Dallas High School, New Hope Elementary School, Norwood Junior High School. I was a part-time teacher and part-time assistant principal at the Paulding County Junior High. In the last 2 years I was there, I was the assistant principal full-time. I was principal at Norwood Elementary School. I was principal at Dallas Elementary School on 2 different occasions. I became personnel director for the Paulding County School System, and I presently work at the Paulding Regional Youth Detention Center here in the city, where I oversee the school as the school principal. The Department of Juvenile Justice operates the school, and we are the 161st school district in the state of Georgia. 25 of my 30 years that I spent in public education, I worked in the city limits of Dallas. I know the city, I'm very proud of the city, and I love this city. My undergrad degree is in political science from Carson Newman College. My master's is in administration and supervision from West Georgia College, and my specialist degree is from Jacksonville State University. I presently serve as the chairman of the City of Dallas Planning and Zoning Commission. I have served in this position since the mid-1980s. I am the only original member of the commission, and I'm the only chairperson the commission has ever had. My goals as a city council member are to support the police department, ensuring they have the proper equipment and training to do their job, to be involved in economic improvement and growth in the city, encourage the creation of jobs in Dallas, and work to bring in more industry and services in Dallas. Work on improving recreation in the city for both youth and adults. Work on improvements for Coleman Camp Park. This will be a great place for a fitness area for walking and for walking dogs. Promote activities for youth to keep them off the streets. I'm a big supporter of the Boys and Girls Club. We started this at Dallas Elementary School when I was principal. Keevy Dixon and I, along with the board of directors, started in 1996 with 2 members. We now have over 125 members, and the club has their own operating facility, which is terrific. I believe in transparency in government. We're accountable to the citizens of Dallas. We must spend our tax dollars wisely, keeping in mind the economic times we're experiencing, and keeping in mind A lot of our citizens are on fixed incomes. I will be a sponsor of the arts in Dallas. We have a beautiful theater in the Civic Center. We need to utilize this as much as possible because it brings in people to downtown and they can utilize our services and patronize the businesses that we have in the city.
30 seconds. That's 30
In closing, I'm a candidate for the City Council because I love the city of Dallas. I'm running because I will be a positive force. I think I have a lot to give, a lot to offer the city. I will be a tireless worker, and I see my time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, we will draw a question out of the jar here. Candidate number one, Mr. Ragsdale. Come there. The question is, he has 3 minutes to respond. What role does a downtown area play in the community as a whole?
I think the downtown area of Dallas is the heart of Dallas. I think it has to be thriving for the city to thrive. We have to get more businesses in the middle of our city, whether it's by offering tax rebates for the first 3 or 4 years a new business starts, or if an entrepreneur wants to come in, or by offering service rebates, for example, to somebody who wants to set a restaurant up. Let's give them 3 or 4 years where we take a certain percentage off their water and sewer bill so that they know that the city of Dallas is there to support them. I think you have to have a thriving downtown in order for the city to survive. And I think the current administration has done a wonderful job of making it look beautiful down here. This building is one example of that. But I also think we need jobs and long-term sustainable business here in order for us to survive into the 21st century.
Thank you. Mr. Hinson, I'll repeat the question again. What role does a downtown area play in the community as a whole?
I think the downtown area poses a situation where it's great. We need to have a vibrant downtown. We have this beautiful theater. We need to utilize it as much as possible and bring in crowds. For those of you that were here when Travis Tritt was in town, this city was electric that night. It was great. There was people everywhere. We need to have businesses also in town that have services that people want to take advantage of and come and visit, purchase, and be here. If we have to give tax advantages, we need to do that. We have a vacant building in the square that would be a great place for either office space, a restaurant, and we must do something to try to bring people there. It's just so many things going on in the city. Like 2 weeks, I believe it was 2 weekends ago, we had the summer festival. And it was great to see the people in Dallas that were there, that came into the stores and bought things. I talked to 2 or 3 merchants, and they said it was the best day they'd had in a long, long time. So we need to take advantage of the avenues we have, the facilities we have, and bring in a vibrant industry. And whatever I can do to be a part of that, I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vinson. Would you please go to the next question? Again, you have 3 minutes to answer this question. What is your plan for economic development within Dallas?
First of all, economic development in Dallas is not a one-person job. You've heard the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to bring in industry, businesses, and jobs to Dallas. So how are we going to do this? We have a lot of tools that we can use. The City Council of Dallas and the Mayor must work together to bring in and foster growth. We must utilize the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce is an entity that has so much to offer us, and we must partner with them and utilize them. We must take and utilize the county commissioners and the job that they do. We may need tax rebates. We may need incentives to bring business in. We may have to offer different incentives. And so we need to work with the people that we have in the county to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I'll read the question. You have 2 minutes for a rebuttal if you choose. What is your plan for economic development within Dallas?
Well, I've already touched a little bit on it. I think we need to offer service rebates and we need to offer tax incentives. And it's paramount that we do this. The median age of a person in Dallas is 31 years old. These are people that are in the prime of their working life. And the fact of the matter is that if things keep going the way they are, where there's $3.50 gas, and they have to drive 30 or 40 miles to their job in Cobb and Fulton County, they're eventually going to leave here once they're able to break even on their house. We have to do something to bring these jobs in. I agree with Mr. Henson as far as saying it's a team effort here, city and county, both cities actually, and county, to bring in business, whether it be within the city or right outside the city limits. Again, tax incentives, service rebates would be two big things. And again, I think businesses do need to pay their share, but we do need to give these incentives over a 3, 4, 5 year period to get these good paying jobs with benefits here so these families can stay in their houses. Thank you.
Thank you. Just kidding. The next candidates are for the office of mayor for Dallas, with Mr. Boyd Austin and Mr. Marvin Tingler, please, come to stage. Okay, Mr. Tingler drew number 1, so he will have the opening 5 minutes to make an opening statement. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming out this evening. I'm Marvin Tingler, and I'm running for Dallas City Mayor. I used to think Dallas was a small town until I started going door to door. It's not. Political campaigns can be hard on your spouses. I'd like to publicly thank my wife for her love and support through this time. Dallas needs new leadership, and I'm the man to provide that leadership. I currently manage $60 million in capital expenditures at Georgia Tech, where I graduated with my electrical engineering degree, and I've since got a master's in finance. As a project manager, I deal with federal and state compliance on a daily basis. Cities all around us are thriving: Cedartown, Hiram, Rockmart, while Dallas remains stagnant on the business front. Dallas city merchants have felt that the current establishment has waged a war against them, and they have openly and overwhelmingly supported me for mayor. Last week I had a discussion with Ms. Doris Durham, who, like many others, will not be able to see her grandchild move back to Dallas and experience the same quality of life that she had while growing up here. There are no decent jobs in Dallas right now, but jobs aren't our only problem. Our neighborhoods are riddled with crime and drugs. The current mayor states that there are no drugs and no crime in Dallas. This is just not true. Just let me read you an email that was sent to me by a concerned citizen. Here's the email. I certainly hope you can put a lid on the drug in the city. Want to know what it feels like to live across the street from a drug bust? Just ask me. I live in Vista Lane. A man and a woman were taken away in handcuffs. I assume when he gets out, he'll return, as the woman and the child still live there. I was hoping they would move. I would have sold my house and moved if I could. There is still a lot of activity going on at that house. I think it's time for a new mayor, and you have my vote. Did you know that in the last 30 days, Blue Ridge subdivision has had 7 break-ins? During that same time period, a man was found beaten and stripped naked 200 yards from Main Street, right behind the Dallas Motel. Our fine police force has been operating undermanned and underfunded for years. I support our police force, and not only during an election year. Crime is not the only concern right now. We also have to look at how our government operates. We need to open the doors of city government. For too long, this city has been governed by backroom deals and closed session meetings. City meetings should not be a closed session dinner party. Everyone will be welcomed at my city council meetings. In fact, our city council meetings will be put on TV. In addition, I plan to put every check and expenditure the city makes on our city website. These are the major issues we have built our campaign on. I would like to share my heart with you for a minute. My wife and I plan to start our family early next year. And we want to be able to raise our children, and Ms. Durham's grandchildren need to be able to come back here and experience the same quality of life that we have. Proverbs 29:18 states, without a vision, the people will perish. We need to have a strong vision, and we need to do everything to accomplish that. Vote Marvin Tingler for Dallas City Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tingler. Mr. Austin, you also have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Terry, and I want to say thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for the opportunity to have this forum and for people to hear the candidates who are running for their offices. I'm a little bit perplexed. It doesn't seem like we live in the same Dallas. The Dallas I know is a Dallas that has seen vast improvement in the last 16 years. We have grown exponentially from a town of 2,500 in 1995 to a town of more than 11,500 today. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve as your mayor, and I think that the record that I have established is a strong record. It is a record of achievement, and it is a record of community support and council support. We have a council that works together. We don't need another Congress in Dallas. We don't need a lot of strife. We can disagree on things, but we can move forward and create a better place for everybody to live. One of the things you heard tonight from other folks is talking about water. Well, we do have a water well system. It's taken 13 years to get through the EPA and the EPD, but the water wells are online. We cannot supply, based on their estimates, more than half of our water resources through those water wells. But they will come in at a cost that will help us to reduce our budgeting, our budget operations, so that can be returned to system improvements. Talk about job creation. We're in the process now of working with Paulding County to create an opportunity zone in Dallas and Paulding County. This is a state program that governs the tax incentives that can be doled out, can be made available to businesses and private enterprises. The simple fact of the matter on service rebates is that it's unconstitutional. It is a gratuity under the law, and it cannot be dispersed in any manner other than across the board. So we could either hand them out to everybody and bankrupt the system, or we can work within the confines of the law, the economic development programs in the state of Georgia. I want people to know that I have given a third of my life in service to this city, and I think my love for this city is reflected even in the place where we stand tonight. This theater is the only venue in Paulding County for the public arts, the fine arts, for public gatherings. It is the centerpiece of a renovated downtown Dallas. It is the centerpiece of our Livable Centers initiative plan that will create that has created a blueprint for the further expansion of the downtown area. But Dallas business is not confined to Main Street. In the past year, we've had more than $4 million of capital investment at the intersection of Highway 61 and 278 with the new Walgreens, the new Chick-fil-A, the new Waffle House, and the new Taco Bell. More than 100 jobs have been created there. We are working actively through the Economic Development Organization to bring new jobs and new industry to the county. It was my leadership, then passed on to the Chamber to get us certified as a camera-ready community that will take advantage of all the tax incentives the state has to offer for those types of businesses. Aristotle said the end of man is action, not a thought. And I'm a man who has taken action. I'm a man with a record, and that record is easily criticized. I'm someone you know and someone you can trust, and I ask for your vote on November the 8th. Thank you.
Just for clarity purposes, I'm going to read what the rules are and how we go through the questions here one more time. The mayor candidates will have 2 questions each. The candidate who draws number 1, which was Mr. Tingler, will draw questions 1 and 4. And the candidate who drew number 2, which is Mr. Austin, will draw questions 2 and 3. And we'll have, obviously, the rebuttal, the comments, and the rebuttal, just so we're very clear on that. So, Mr. Tingler, you get to draw the first question. First question is, what do you see as the role of your city, that being Dallas, in the economic development process?
I see Dallas as becoming the county seat once again. 16 years ago, Hiram had a Kroger and a Kmart. And now, through expansion, they're getting nationwide envelopes, they're getting the Wellstar, they're getting the jobs. Dallas hasn't seen that same type of growth. They haven't seen that type of economic revival. I'm not Hiram's mayor. I'm running for Dallas City Mayor, and I will do what's in the best interest to bring jobs to Dallas City.
Thank you. Mr. Austin, you have 2 minutes to comment on that if you choose.
Would you restate the question?
Yes. What do you see as the role of Dallas in the economic development process?
Dallas is a partner with Paulding County and with the City of Hiram, with the Chamber of Commerce, the Economic Development Organization, the Regional Commission. We are no longer an entity unto ourselves. No man is an island unto himself, and no city is an island unto itself. When we look at the sum total of this community, 76% of our workforce leaves the county every day for gainful employment. We've been a part of the process. We were the first partner with Paulding County and Hiram to develop the Economic Development Organization. 2 businesses have located here or announced their location since that time. There are 36 in the chute. If people get a job nearby, that's a commute they don't have to make. And the other thing we have to take note of is that we share the SPLOST across the county. It doesn't stop at the city limits or the county line, but we share a portion of that. So everything that's bought and sold in this county is to the benefit of all the citizens. That SPLOST money allows us to buy equipment for the police department, to allow us to buy property for parks and recreation, and also allows us to do the improvements to our street and sidewalk system. So while I seek business for Dallas, and I'm pleased when things come here, I'm not going to help shut the door on anybody coming to this county that would give people more time at home in the evenings and in the mornings with their families to do the things they need to do to make this a better community. Thank you.
Call the next question, please. What is the square root of 6,200?
I don't know. I'm not a math. I went to the school of hard knocks.
The citizens of Georgia will be voting for the transportation SPLOST in 2012. Paulding County is part of Region 1, or Northwest Georgia, for the T-SPLOST vote. As a matter of fact, I think Dallas will get roughly $1.8 million over the next 10 years if the referendum is passed by voters next year. What is your position on the proposed regional projects that will affect Paulding County?
As I said in the last question, we are not an island unto ourselves. We cannot be separated. We have to realize that in this metropolitan area that we are more interconnected than ever before. We have to take a regional view, and not just the metro Atlanta region, but to realize that in the next 30 years, the Chattanooga, Birmingham, Atlanta region will look much like Metro Atlanta does today. And if we are going to be successful in our economic development efforts, we have to have transportation infrastructure in place to achieve that. We need connectivity to the interstates. One of the vital projects that's not in our district list, but it's in the ARC list, is the improvement of the intersection at I-20 and I-285. That cuts everybody's commute on I-20 by about 30 minutes a day when that's completed. It's not a perfect plan. It's not one that I would have chosen. As chair of GMA's Transportation Policy Committee, we fought for an alternative plan, but that's what the General Assembly has given us, and they've given us no plan B. So we have the opportunity to vote on it. We have the opportunity to take those funds and to make an investment in our future. Georgia has sunk to 49th out of 50 in transportation per capita spending, and that's not acceptable. So we need to move forward. I hope people will look at the list. I hope it's things that you feel are beneficial. The other part of that equation, like you said, is the local money that will come back to the cities and to Paulding County as discretionary funds to use for transportation projects. And we have a lot of things that we are looking at that we have put on the table that we'd like to use our local monies for and joint projects for Paulding County. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll read that question. That's a long question. Please. And it is, and I'll drop out the square root. All right. The citizens of Georgia will be voting for the transportation SPLOST in 2012. Paulding County is part of Region 1 for Northwest Georgia for the T-SPLOST vote. What is your position on the proposed regional projects that will affect Paulding County?
The fact that the people are voting on it is how our government is supposed to work. If we take the funds and use those to fix our infrastructure, our sidewalks, our roads, because as you know, transportation, education, and a strong water system is what stimulates the economy. And that's how you grow. So if the people choose to vote that way to accommodate that bill, then I'm all for it. And I'll use that money being fiscally responsible and use it in the best interest of Dallas so that we can revise, rejuvenate our infrastructure so that when companies come here, they have a solid water source, strong roads, and sidewalks for basic transportation, which right now Dallas is lacking.
Thank you. The next question is, and again you have 3 minutes to respond. The Paulding Chamber of Commerce receives a portion of the hotel-motel tax to market Paulding County as a tourist destination. And I believe that's actually required by state law. What do you consider Paulding's greatest asset for tourism?
The state law has grown very explicitly that requires some local entity, whether it is a Chamber of Commerce, a tourism board, to be charged with that authority, and that portion of the money has to be dedicated under state law. Currently, the City of Hiram and the City of Dallas are the only entities that have a hotel-motel tax, and we do pay a portion of that to the Chamber for those purposes. They are advertising the cities of Dallas and Hiram, as well as Paulding County in the publications that go out for the region and in cooperative advertising in the state of Georgia. Our two greatest assets are the Silver Comet Trail. There are 1 million people a year that ride on that trail back and forth in all parts of the trail. And also our heritage assets. The Civil War battlefields, all of the historicity that's connected with that. And what we've done in Dallas is try to meld the two. The trailhead spur that comes off from the Silver Comet into the Trailhead Park is a destination for people on the trail to get into Dallas. It will contain a heritage marker to show people the lay of the land at the time of the battles. Last year we purchased with SPLOST money and an approved vote by the City Council the purchase of about 140 acres of land. The county gave us back 20 acres of land. We have received national attention for the preservation of the Dallas battle site. It is one of the sites that is most important on the on the state list. It's the site of the battle where the Orphan Brigade was engaged. It will reap benefits for this community for years to come. It not only has the heritage component, but it has the natural beauty of it. And we recently received through the Department of Transportation a T grant, Transportation Enhancement Grant, that can only be used for sidewalks, trail spurs, trails, things of that nature, to create a trail system that will connect the battle site with the Sarah Babb Park, and then at that point they'll be able to exit Sarah Babb on the East Memorial sidewalk that was just constructed this year. All of those funds are SPLOST dollars that have been set aside for the construction of street sidewalks, and the T money can only be used for pedestrian type access or for mitigation of air quality needs. So we look forward to working with the Chamber to develop those assets, and that park will be open in 2014 with the trail system in place. Thank
you. I'll read that question because it's very long. The Paulding Chamber of Commerce receives a portion of the hotel-motel tax to market Paulding County as a tourist destination. What do you consider Paulding's greatest asset for tourism? And again, you have 2 minutes.
I actually believe the downtown area is one of the best heritage zones for Dallas. If it is revitalized, you have a lot of history right down here that we can draw and attract people. Battlefield parks have shown to be no more of a tourist destination than a United States post office. Kennesaw has not seen any tax increases for theirs, so why are we spending money unjudiciously when we don't need to? We have Sarah Babb Park. We can invest in that and make it actually a community hub by putting in more baseball fields, putting in a skate park, dog park, so that people want to come here. If you actually bring up the economic growth of Dallas and you enhance the downtown area, people come here and will come here for the history, and that will bring them in here to stay in our hotels and motels.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, you get the last question. As mayor, how will you work with county officials on the development of an industrial commercial tax base for Paulding?
I believe you have to work hand in hand. I want to come in here, I want to be open, I want to do whatever is needed to help and make this area prosperous. But let me make myself clear. I need to make sure Dallas is taken care of. Dallas merchants, Dallas residents need to have economic growth here. The tax revenue from businesses coming into Dallas, yes, you have SPLOST dollars, but tax revenue from industries exceed those SPLOST dollars. So I want to make sure that Dallas is the hub, is the center of the county, but I will work with the county officials on anything that they need or see fit.
Thank you. And Mr. Austin, again, the question was, as mayor, how will you work with county officials on the development of an industrial commercial tax base for Paulding?
Well, for the past 16 years, I've done exactly that. I've worked with 3 different administrations in county government and 2 in the city of Hiram. We have revitalized the Industrial Building Authority. I worked last year as we created the Economic Development Organization to assure that it was free from politics, that in the past, previous efforts may have been constrained by such, and that we wanted that to be a separate entity. That we wanted the Economic Development Organization to be able to act within the guidelines of state law and to offer the things that were possible without any intent of personal gain or political connection. Again, we all have to work together. This opportunity zone that we're presenting next week, the Department of Community Affairs, when the county went, we had an appointment the next day and they were told, you go home and you work with the city of Dallas and y'all come back as a joint effort. We are stronger together when we work together, and we will continue to pursue those things that bring jobs and industry to Dallas. And I will say again, one of the comments made earlier about the overwhelming support of the merchants. I've gotten a lot of money from a lot of the folks that live in Dallas, that own the buildings, that run the businesses, and that have been here. And that Dallas is not just Main Street. It stretches way beyond. It's a lot of square miles. And I'm working for all of Dallas with no particular interest. We've given every opportunity available in the downtown area to revitalize. And if you don't sell the services or you don't provide what people want, they're not going to come. And I've asked the Chamber to help with that, and those items have been rebuffed every time. Thank you.
I just have one final question for both of you. Are either of you a member of the Paulding Chamber of Commerce? No.
No, from a strictly. I am a member and have been all my adult life as an individual or as a business owner, as a city.
Thank you. Let's give our mayoral candidate. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It kind of reminds me of the story of the boy who was riding down the street, and there was this preacher who had always been riding his bicycle, and he came on with this boy who'd been riding a riding lawnmower, and they began to talk, and the preacher kind of talked him into trading. And about a week later, the preacher couldn't get his riding lawnmower to work anymore, so he went and looked up the boy and asked him, how to get it to work, and the boy said, "What, did you cuss it?" And the preacher said, "No, I didn't cuss it. I don't cuss. I'm a gospel preacher. I haven't cussed since I was a child. I have forgotten all those words." The boy says, "Well, if you pull on that rope long enough, they'll come back to you." So I hope that you all, as you think about the comments that were made tonight, that some of what you heard will come back to you as you get ready to vote for these very important races that are coming up in the next election. So again, thank you all for coming tonight, and have a safe drive back home. Thank you.
Terry, thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, the kids are pretty wild. I'm gonna say they're wild because I haven't had a chance to. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. I'm trying to do some filming. Hitchhiking. Hey. I appreciate it.